The next match, they follow CM Punk versus Dax Harwood in one of the certainly 10 best singles matches they've ever had in the company, with an 8-man tornado tag team match, all 8 guys in at the same time with no disqualification. Lazy booking. Sting, Darby Allin, and Matt and Jeff Hardy against Private Party and Butcher and Blade with Andre and Jose and Bunny. And they have reunited the Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff Hardy, and 2 weeks after their reunion, they're in a multi-man, 8-man garbage match with a bunch of middle card nobodies. And nobody is going to point out that this is completely insane. And not only that, but they put them in a garbage match where there's a high probability that one or both of them is going to get injured before they ever capitalize on Jeff Hardy being here at all. It didn't help the ratings. They still did 1 million people, the same 1 million people they do every time they hotshot something. It isn't on pay-per-view. So it hadn't sold any tickets, and now he's wrestled 2 weeks in a row on free television against job guys. And this, I was in too good a mood from the opening match to watch this because we all knew what it was going to be. Same shit they always do, and there's nothing new to say about it. So as fast forwarding, they were all over the arena. They did some ridiculous stunts, tricks, as they call them. There were some garbage cans. They fought in the arena breezeway. Jeff Hardy did a swanton from 20 feet up the side of the wall through the merchandise table on 2 of these morons that were obviously laying there motionless, scared to death, and able to move anytime they wanted to. And then somehow the babyfaces won in a huge, shocking upset. What? 2 weeks of the Hardy Boys and it's over already? What the fuck? How could you do this on purpose if you said, I'm going to reunite one of the most popular tag teams in the history of wrestling, and within the first 2 weeks, they will be having shitty matches with underneath guys and nobody will care. And I will not have utilized Jeff Hardy's debut in my company to sell one fucking single ticket. Could you believe this?
I sadly can believe it. And even though I'm not been a big Matt Hardy fan, there was such a better way to do all of this. I will say, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I wondered about this when he first came in, based on the way we've seen him the last several years and, you know, his popularity. Whether, despite the fact that the Hardy Boys were always popular, is the real value bringing him in and making him in a tag team, or Jeff Hardy as a singles wrestler? I actually think maybe they should have brought him in as just Jeff Hardy and put him in the singles division. Because look at what happened. Put him in a tag team division. He's in a match with the Butcher, the Blade, and Private Party. Oh, don't forget Andrade and his assistant. Just what a way. And they've wasted, we're going past the idea they've wasted Darby and Sting on this show for a little while now, too. But this is ridiculous. This is week 3. He debuted dancing to the ring while saving his brother. Second week he had the match. Now he's in a Texas Tornado free-for-all match. Not one match on pay-per-view yet, tag or single. Could have been built up. First match, Jeff Hardy in AEW. You know, everyone says it's always the same million people, but look at how many people buy the pay-per-view. Hey, then try to pop the pay-per-view rate. Try to pop what your pay-per-view number is going to be. They didn't even try to do that. I really can't explain any of this. It's not logical.
And let's say, when's their next pay-per-view? May, June? Let's say they didn't want to wait that long.
I think it's May. I have to double check.
Okay, let's say they didn't want to wait that long. You could still have promoted the debut of Jeff Hardy on your live national television more in advance and in a better way than 6 hours ahead of time on Twitter. But your idea, I have one disagreement with your idea, otherwise it was good. Yeah, Jeff Hardy as a single may have been better to be brought in like that and put him straight into the singles title picture because, if nothing else, because of the complete rottenness that Matt Hardy's been involved in since this company's been started. It's been It went from embarrassing to just sad, everything that Matt has done. But bringing Jeff Hardy in as a single, now you've got a 45-year-old daredevil that looks and moves like one more swanton's going to break him in half, and you're wanting him to carry the load in singles matches. If this was 10 years ago, yes, they should have bypassed Matt directly for Jeff into the top singles picture. But now at this point, it would have been better for both of those guys who are in their mid to late 40s as a tag team, even with Matt's crummy booking over the last few years and that nobody gave a shit about him anymore. You could still reunite the Hardy Boys, the sum of the parts greater than the whole, whatever that statement is. And they could, tag team matches, neither one of them would have to do shit that they're obviously not able to do anymore and shouldn't be doing for their physical well-being. But that would have required a top antagonist team, a top heel team, and a great angle to bring Jeff back into the fold with Matt and getting the high-profile match done first so that the fans didn't have time to see, wait a minute, they ain't the boys anymore. They're the Hardy 48-year-olds. Because once they see through that, then your clock is ticking on the way back down on the nostalgia run. This has been botched in every conceivable way that it could be botched.
And by the way, to your point, they aren't the Hardy Boys anymore. If you notice, they're just the Hardys.
Well, yeah. Just at some point when I was in my 30s, my rich mother had to, fucking stop telling me what to do at some point because it was ridiculous rather than heat getting. Anyway, that's what happened there. Another interview with FTR and Tony in the back where they're talking about the ass boys. So now that Dax has done his job putting one of the stars over, now they're back to dealing with underneath tag team programs.
Although, let's be fair, you were the first one before me. You said you saw something in the Gun Boys. I'm not going to call them what you call them. You saw something in them.
Yeah.
I actually saw something in them too. Now, the problem is Dax and Cash have been used like dog shit.
That's what I'm not saying.
Forever.
There's anything wrong with the ass boys. I'm saying that here's another. Okay, do you want to beat the ass boys with FTR? Well, then you've stopped the ass boys' momentum before they've ever got started, which then is that you've done the same thing you did to FTR before they ever got started. They were fucking whipped into line. Nobody's ready to do the favors for the next guy to bring them up because their booking has been so rotten that they're not ready to give a guy a hand up. Anybody, practically. Is that one or two people? And FTR did this interview. They didn't sound confident saying this. They had nothing to say. And they pretty much, I think at this point, know that this cause is lost, which is why they're out looking for select independent bookings, not for the money, but so that they can actually have good matches against good teams. They're working for a billionaire that has a national television show, and they're having to go work independence, not for financial reasons, but just to be professionally fulfilled. This is fucking ridiculous. It's like you got a goddamn violin virtuoso in with a bunch of drunken hillbilly fiddler players. It's fucking ridiculous.